My 33F brother died. What am I supposed to do? I'm not even sure this makes sense or I'm in the right place. But I found out my brother died last night. I need help. I'm in a daze. It's all emotionally fraught, but in addition to the emotions I need help logistically. My parents, who are in their 70s, are on the other side of the country and have been quarantined for weeks after both contracting COVID. They are devastated and doing about as well as one could expect. They were adamant about traveling to collect his belongings / tie up what loose ends they could, but I convinced them to let me do it. They shouldn't be traveling right now anyway, but I know it would be too much emotionally, too. So, what loose ends are there for something like this? I've been googling and everyone has been really nice and supportive, but other than let us know what you need and we're here for you, I'm not getting a lot of direction. Don't get me wrong, it's also deeply appreciated, but I don't know what I'm supposed to need. It feels like an avalanche of things I'm suddenly in charge of, and I want to make sure I take care of everything I can. Has anyone dealt with this before? Any helpful advice? Thank you in advance for anything. Too long didn't read. My brother is gone and I'm semi in charge of picking up some pieces. I need help even knowing what the pieces are. How sad for you and your family. I am so sorry. You might want to consider posting your question on the legal advice subreddit. Include the state where he died. Hopefully they can give you some direction about how to start the legal process of settling his estate. Even if it's a small estate, you will need to do basic things to be able to take care of things like transferring title to his car, working with any debtors, etc. So sorry to hear this, but does he have a lease? Does he have any debt? Did he leave a will? Does he have life insurance? All things that are painful to deal with, but you should ask these questions. Thank you. He had an apartment and I know I'll be bringing back his vehicle. I don't think he had a will, but those are such good things to think about. Thank you so much! Exclamation mark. Get 10 copies of the death certificate. You will need them for all his various financial matters, e.g. lease, car, bank account, etc. Much easier to get 10 at the time they are issued rather than getting certified copies later. I'm sorry for your loss. Oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate it. You'll need the death certificate and then you'll need to get power of attorney. And you need to start contacting people. Assume he has no dependents. Start with the burial/cremation arrangements. Then you'll need to contact his banks. Hopefully he has some documentation. If not, you'll start seeing statements. Contact his auto insurance and landlord. Ask the landlord which utilities are covered and if he knows the service providers for those that aren't. If he has a car title, you'll need to call them. Depending on if he had a will and the state, you might have to go through probate. Oh, thank you so much for all this. He didn't have dependents. My parents are arranging his funeral. He's being brought back to their/our home state for burial/service. But wow, seriously, thank you so much for laying out all that. I'm so sorry for your loss. A few things to consider. Look to see if he keeps a record of his bills somewhere. That should help you figure out who to contact to terminate things like his phone plan, credit cards, car insurance, etc. Depending on his age and career, look to see if maybe he had a life insurance plan, will, etc. You can have an estate sale to sell his furniture, dishes, clothes, etc. or donate them. Some charities will come pick up furniture and the like for you. Don't feel like you have to do this ASAP. It's mentally draining. But eventually you'll need to decide what's sentimental, what if anything should go to loved ones, and what to sell or donate. Unfortunately, this can be a lengthy procedure. My grandpa died over a year ago and we're still dealing with the aftermath. Banks, primarily. Thank you so much for your suggestions. We were talking about preparing mentally for this to be a lengthy process, so I appreciate you sharing. I'm sorry to hear you're still dealing with the banks. My 25F boyfriend, 29 meters, broke up with me out of nowhere after things were seemingly going so well. Where do I go from here? Well, it happened to me. It's ironic because I just made a post today about how much better things have been. How he has been compromising and trying. How he just introduced me to his sister yesterday for the first time after 3 years. We have had a hard relationship. Toxic. We've broken up countless time but always in a fight. The last 6 months have been so good. I've been supportive and there and appreciative and I felt it was finally being reciprocated. I thought we were doing well. I thought we could make it through anything. My 25F boyfriend, 29 meters, of 3 years just came home from a 2-week stay with his family in another city. I met him at the bus station when he arrived. I was so excited to see him. He took me aside before we headed to his place and told me he doesn't want to do it anymore. That he needs to work on himself and he's depressed. He says he loves me and doesn't want to hurt me but he just can't do it. My head is spinning. I know it's selfish of me, but I wanted to be there. I wanted to help. I love him. I was shocked really. I didn't see it coming. I'm so heartbroken and I don't know where to go from here. I feel I've done everything possible to make it work. I've changed and grown so much as a person because of him and have really made an effort to heal to make it work. I feel like I'm falling apart. I know it's still new and still fresh and that with time I'll feel better. I'm just so heartbroken I don't know what to do. Help TD, LR. My boyfriend of 3 years broke up with me out of nowhere. I feel so lost and shocked and heartbroken. Words of wisdom, advice? Sounds like it might be time to date yourself a bit, which is super exciting. To get there, I'd suggest fully processing the hurt and heartbreak you're going through. If you don't want to block his number, try changing his contact name to a reason you don't want to text him. Unfollow his content on social so you're not constantly re-breaking your own heart. Write angry letters, cry, get drunk, via Zoom, with girlfriends. Find things that you like, and do those things. Try new things, talk to different people. Find out who you want to be, and do things to become that person. It might not seem like it, but this is a great time to date yourself. The relationship sounds like it was dysfunctional. You would do better to do a good post-mortem on it and move forward. Look at every issue from the side of what could I have done better? Once you figure that out, then it lets you know what you need/expect from the other side. Relationships shouldn't be that hard, where you are constantly doing everything you can just to make it work. Also, once a relationship is toxic, it never completely goes away, especially the memories. What I'm saying is you are putting all this hope and effort into something that already ran its course anyway. It's time for you to move on and start anew, and think about what you learned from this intense relationship. Think about what you want to do differently and what you will and will not tolerate from a man. Don't make someone your boyfriend before you're sure that you are compatible and he is someone that can fulfill your specific needs. Apply what you learned from your mistakes to make a good, healthy relationship. The growth you did because of him may have been influenced by him, but I promise you the development of you as a whole, strong, confident women, is credited to you and you alone. You are now set free to dream big and keep doing that work, girl. Go to therapy. Be mad. Write angry letters. Be mad at him or miss him or wish was with you, but work on you, sis. Work out. Eat quesadillas. Become a spin instructor. Go to a grad school. Dream big. In the words of my beau today, I fucked up sister after my recent breakup. It's your chance to live your 90s rom-com post-breakup life. Y'all might end up together, you might not. Regardless, any work you do on yourself will have a positive impact. So many hugs to you, and I highly recommend no contact. How he just introduced me to his sister yesterday for the first time after 3 years. Red flag. We have had a hard relationship. Toxic. We've broken up countless time but always in a fight. Another red flag. Your relationship was never functional. We were doing well for the last 6 months. I mean, okay, congrats, but that doesn't mean anything. Either way, now he broke up. W. Cry, talk it out. W. A friend, write it down, talk it out again, and if you can afford it, get in therapy. 3 years in a hard toxic relationship. SMTH was wrong. Maybe you are codependent, maybe you have attachment issues, etc. Fix that in therapy. In the meantime, take it one day at a time. Breaks up are hard, but I can promise you 100% of certainty you won't die of this. My girlfriend, 27, and I, 25, have been in a relationship for a year and a half and there is a problem that is getting bigger and bigger. My girlfriend, 27, and I, 25, have been in a relationship for a year and a half and there is a problem that is getting bigger and bigger. We both live with our parents because the apartments in our city are so expensive that we can't even rent a studio apartment together, and we are both final year students. She has a final thesis to do and I have final year subjects and a final thesis. Ever since this situation started with Corona, I have been overwhelmed with lectures and work, and I try to balance time with her, time with my parents and time for faculty work. I spend 6 hours on my laptop listening to lectures and then I have work for which I need another 6 hours a day, and I try to see her every day, spend quality time together and at least twice a week to sleep together. But lately everyone has been complaining that I don't devote enough time to them. Faculty, professors telling me that I don't take enough time for work to make my obligations better. My parents say I never even have time to talk to them properly, and at last she too began to complain why we don't sleep together every night together. We have sex almost every day. And I tried to explain to her that because I have lectures during the day and other obligations, sometimes I have to do my faculty assignments overnight and then I can't come to sleep because I can't do anything when we're together. But this began to create problems for us to such an extent that she was very disappointed and stressed. She even considered a breakup. How to satisfy her wish to sleep together every night when that means I have to leave overnight work for faculty that professors already feel like I'm not doing enough. Plus I'm an introvert and sometimes I really need a little time just for myself, but I try to spend all my free time with her. How to balance the time I don't have to be able to satisfy all three sides. Too long didn't read. My girlfriend, 27, and I, 25, have been in a relationship for a year and a half and there is a problem that is getting bigger and bigger. We have sex almost every day. How do you manage time for sex? Oof, look. I know for some people sleeping together every night is very meaningful. I'm in fact married to such a person, and we've indeed had arguments too when my work required me to get up often in the middle of the night, so I slept in the guest rooms sometimes. Anyway, she's just wired that way, and you already have a lot of stress, so can't help her in this way. There's a limit to your assignments though, right? Just mention to her about the limited timeline. This won't be forever. That would help her. Having weeks to count down and so on will make it seem less. This is my life now and I'm so lonely. First of all, you guys don't live together, so it's unreasonable of her to expect to sleep together every night. Second, it sounds like you're being pulled so thin that you're not giving enough attention to anything you're doing. In the wise words of Ron Swanson, never half-ass two things. Whole-ass one thing. I think you need to sit down and map out time for everything. How many hours do you need to work each day and what are your hours? Then figure out when you can see your girlfriend. All weekend and Wednesday nights, Tuesday and Thursday after work and all day Saturday. Then figure out where to slot in your family. I think creating a schedule and being clear about your boundaries will not only lessen your stress and guilt, but also help others manage their expectations. And once things calm down, you can allow for some spontaneity. Yikes, this does not sound good. You're nearing a complete meltdown if you keep this up. This is a trifecta of disappointment on all ends. What do you want to do?